Hey friends, it's Jenny. And of course it is 3 o'clock in the morning because that's apparently when I film my big long videos. So you are forewarned, this is going to be a long video. This is our monthly thing where Becky and I take the subscription Bargain Bead Box and the companion bundle for the Bargain Bead Box bought from Bead Box Bargains, and we do our twofer. And so Becky, when she does this, she usually makes a set from the subscription and then a set from the companion bundle. I like to mix it all up. And so you get a little bit different version of this thing, because I know many of you buy the companion bundle. I know not everybody does, but we also, a lot of us, have some items in stash that you might have some ideas. So this is going to be me combining both boxes. I have not made yet from the subscription. So as you can see, I have a full complement of beads. In fact, I have extra of these glow-in-the-dark beads, and I have them in a smaller size. I have them both in the 10 millimeter that came in the companion bundle and the 8 millimeter, but I have a whole bunch more of the 10 millimeter and the 8 because I bought them when they were available to just buy from the store before I knew they were going to be part of this bundle. So I pulled these in from my stash and added them because they're perfect. And I am going to go glow in the dark crazy today. Now, normally I have already planned out mostly what I'm going to be making. I've usually made links. Typically I'll do one beaded chain and one strung set. I don't have any of that planned. Now, some of you know that I was gone all last week. My mother-in-law had major surgery and we needed to be there to support her. And so I was not really here that much. And I am leaving again this weekend for more family stuff unrelated to the surgery this coming weekend. So I have just a few days to cram in a whole bunch of stuff. And so what you're getting from me in this video is more design on the fly from both of these with two things that I have planned. And those are, one, I'm going to be using some of my glow in the dark beads. I've got these guys here. I've got all of these. I've got these. They all glow in the dark. So I'm definitely going to be using some glow in the dark beads. And I have decided on a theme. I'm doing cats versus bats, y'all. Because both of these bundles have fantastic pendants and accessories for both of those nighttime critters that are often associated with Halloween, but don't have to be. And I am going to design one set that is going to be fully feline and another that is going to be a nocturnal flying rodent, because that's what a bat is, isn't it? Isn't it a rodent? I think of it as a rodent. I could be wrong. I'd have to probably look that up. A flying mammal. I'll put it that way. It is a flying mammal. And so I'm going to be doing that. And so stay tuned. At the end of this video, we are going to have a special musical number, and I'll tell you more about that later. So in the meantime, let's get these guys out and start to play. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this in alphabetical order because I'm showing no preference for the feline or the furry flying mammals. And I am just going to go in alphabetical order. So bats come before cats. So I'm just going to pull out all of the accessories that are bat specific from both of these bundles. Whether I use all of them or not, I haven't decided, but I'm grabbing all of my bat guys so that I can make the decisions on what I want to use. So we've got some charms and dangles. Becky did check all of the metal components that weren't already listed as hypoallergenic or nickel-free, and they're safe for me to use. So I'm going to proceed with those. I think I really love these filigree bats from the subscription bundle, and I'm trying to decide which of these bats I want to work with as my main focal for my necklace. And I'm kind of wondering if this guy might not make an awesome dangle for a bracelet. Like, could that be a bracelet? Maybe. I was thinking about using him as a pendant, but I think I'm going to go old school, like, and do the guy from the from the subscription, because they are both really cool. Like this guy's got the golden sheen obsidian. You can see that sheen right there. That's that golden sheen. And then this guy has a labradorite, and look at that flash. That is a very, very nice flash in this guy. So they're both very good options to choose from. And I am thinking that I'm probably gonna do, let's play with these ideas. Okay, so going with the bats, I am primarily gonna use a bunch of black beads. And like I said, I'm gonna get some glow in the dark friends out. So here's some of the 10mm that came in the companion bundle, plus some from a previous purchase of mine. Let's get some of the smaller ones out too. I fully plan on using glow in the dark on both, so I'm not going to be using all of them, but I do know that I want them to be part of this. I also think that these crystals are going to be fantastic for our bats, as are these crystals. Yep, doing these. I'm going to use some more of the golden sheen obsidian, especially since I'm thinking about using that for the pendant. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pull out some of the more purpley of these stones over here. I don't remember what stone they are. This is from the collection. They're the dyed quartz rondelles. Dyed quartz. Malaysia jade is the trade name, but they are quartz. Oh, and these guys, I haven't used these guys. They need to be in here too, with these like really cool flashes of like pink and stuff. Again, gonna go more black and purpley with these guys, and I'm planning on going black and orange with the cats, because you gotta have, like, the black cats are the masterminds, but they've got their orange tabby friend that's like the perfect sidekick. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. we're talking about the bats for now. We've got some elongated shapes. I think these guys might end up being for the bat side of things. Okay, I pulled a lot of stuff. Oh, that's right. I'm getting some of these guys out that are on the more purpley side, because I want to play with them too. I may do 2 strung sections, but since these filigree guys are links, you may find that I'm doing sections of strung beads rather than like beaded chain. So I'm going to get these guys out, and we're just going to sort them into the two sides, the more purpley and the more orangish ones, because they are definitely in those families. There's a lot of blended guys. So I'm thinking if they have any orange, I'm pulling them away. Just to be a little bit more consistent in the colors. So this is our more purpley side and our more orangey side. There's touches of orange here, but I think this is pretty fair. So moving the orange guys up, keeping the purple guys down. And I also want some of these crystals from the companion bundle, because they really fit with a lot of the other crystals that I'm into. Oh, I already pulled some out. I did. I already grabbed some here. Okay. I did get those crystals. Good. Did I tell you that it was almost 3 o'clock in the morning? Okay, and maybe the labradorite for some smaller beads. I'm leaving these orange glow in the dark for my kitty cat side. And I'm thinking hard about the tiger's eye, but I'm kind of feeling like I'm honor bound to use tiger's eye, cat's eye, those kinds of things on the cat side of things. So I'm going to leave the tiger's eye because I've got the golden sheen obsidian and some other great beads to work with here. Haven't decided if I'm going to use the hematite in any of this yet. Have not decided. Okay, so I think I am probably only going to use 2 of these links in the necklace. I'm leaning towards this guy as like a dangle from a bracelet, which seems strange for a pendant, But what if we used this as like a bracelet bar? I just would have to bend it. Can I bend this? I'm just folding it very gently. There, I bent it. Bent it enough to use for a bracelet bar. So I'm going to use this as a bracelet bar and this for a dangle. So we've got that planned for a bracelet. Let's start working on how I want to configure this necklace. So we're going to have this bat hanging down by his, do I want the bats flying in or flying out? I'm leaning towards flying out. I'm also leaning towards these guys for the earrings because they're bats in flight. These are cool, but maybe not for this. So, and I'm moving those guys out of the way. All right. And then we've got a bunch of crystal and the other beads that I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do with. So these are going to be the earrings later. I feel like we need to do a strung section here, linking to these, and then maybe just chain up from these and around the neck for our necklace. I might have too many beads out, but that's okay because I want to play with all these beads in that strung portion. So it's going to be like half beaded chain, but strung here for the bat dude. And I'm debating, I think I want to remove this bail and just give him a jump ring to connect. Yeah. Yep. So I'm just going to pop open this bail, I think. Let me see if it's closed where you can't open it or not. Usually this is a pinch bail, but it doesn't actually look like it is. That may be soldered. It certainly is not opening easily. So we'll leave that bail on rather than mess with it. Okay, I have some black onyx beading wire. Pretty sure that's what I'm going to want to use. This is, oh, I should go over materials and tools. Soft flex black onyx beading wire in medium. Magical crimpers. Soft flex 2x2 crimp tubes. My plier set from Casual Comfort using round nose, chain nose, and flat nose pliers. You can use those any brand you want. These are the ones that Becky liked and she got for me, and I really like them. They're super comfortable and easy to use. Some flush cutters. And for when we're doing earrings, if I'm cutting any stainless steel, my memory wire cutters. I think that covers it as far as tools and stringing material go. We do have some of the chain here. I used some of it when I did my spider necklace, and I do still have some extra beads from over there. I don't know if they're going to make their way into this, but they might. Excuse me. That was the value bundle. Oh yeah, I have these little sections of chain that I cut for that and then didn't use because they were just super messy. I wonder if I'll have a purpose for them here. They're already cut. They're very similar in length. I think there was only one that was like a touch long or a touch short, but I do have these lengths of chain. Huh. Maybe I am going to do more chain than I thought. I've got jump rings, so I'm going to get those out because I already know I'm going to be using some at least. Let's start with the strung section and kind of figure out what we're doing with that, because I feel like that's going to inform a lot of what I do. So, like I said, this is going to be a long video. I'm planning on doing what I consider a full set because I don't make rings yet, and that's going to be a necklace, a bracelet, and earrings for both sides of this competition, the cats versus bats. And let's kind of see where this goes. So I know that I'm going to want this in the middle. I'm kind of wondering if I should put like a glow in the dark on either side, how that sits with the bail that's attached. That's one of the first things that I figure out is, what am I going to put on either side of my focal, and is it going to fit funny, or is that going to actually help it sit where it needs to? And I think that's going to help it sit where it needs to. Sometimes I, you know, slide some string or some seed beads under there. These aren't really going to go in very much, so even if it's cinched tight, it's not going to be weird. It's just going to hang on the wire there. Okay. The other thing I need to figure out is if I'm going to use any of these cool metal caps and spacers. So these are the ones from the subscription. I've got just a mix of them here, some caps and spacers. And these are the caps from the companion bundle. I think because I'm not doing a whole lot of strung section on this, I'm not going to use the spacers that came with it, because I did get the first set of the companion bundle, which came with these big chunky boys, which I really like, but I'm not using them for this. So I think I want to see what I like. I think I'm going to like these bead caps for my glow-in-the-dark friends, my 10mm glow-in-the-dark. They're a little bit bigger than the other one, less pokey. I'm gonna put one on each side and see which I like better. So let's take a look. So here we are with the bead cap. So this is the front view of that stone with the bead cap, or that bead with the bead cap. They're lampwork glass. This is from this side of it. This is from this side of it. I'm actually thinking that for the bats, we want to go with the ones from the subscription. So I'll move these guys up. I'll probably use them later because they remind me of little cat feet. So if I put one of these bead caps on either side of those glow-in-the-dark friends, and then put it on here, does that change the way that that veil hangs between them? That's the next question I have to ask myself. You guys are totally invited to my creative process, because that's what I'm doing here. Okay. Yeah, so they do kind of hold the veil up a little bit. It doesn't droop as much on the strand, but I also don't feel like that's a bad thing. I think that that actually really works. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to work off of the strand. I'm going to set these so they're a little bit less in my way. Moving some of my tools as well so that I can try to stay on screen for all of you. So I'm going to work from there. And I know that I want to work in some smaller size beads. Again, this is not going to be a long strung section, so I want to make sure that I'm thoughtful about the way that I do these. I don't think I want to cover the golden sheen obsidian. I don't mind covering a little bit of the lampwork because most of the glow-in-the-dark is in the center of that. So that's just fine by me. I wonder about doing some of this purple because I do want to add in a little bit of color. And right next to these that have that cool vitriol going on with them, it's probably a good place to put those. And this also, speaking of vitriol. Just playing around. I'm not using a whole lot of metal spacers. I'm using like the crystals instead. Put this guy here. And then these guys are apparently not getting very much in the way of glow in the dark. They're getting some right at the front. And then I think I'm going to have one as we finish out this lower strand, because really I don't want much more than that, do I? On a side. So let me do this, and then let's do the 10mm. I have a bunch of those, and they are the ones that came, oh, but I want the little caps. Okay, and then I do have to, because this is a pretty big hole and it will my crimp tube, my crimp bead, once it's made from a tube into a bead, will slip right through there. So I need to have something to kind of end that closer to where we're going to link it. Yeah, I don't want to go much longer than that. How are those holes? Those holes are very similar. I could do a crystal. That wouldn't look bad right there. Crystal again. One of these little star cut crystals. What do you think? It's just a touch of purple. I'm going to hold it up to the camera a little bit better because I don't think you can see the purple very well. Let me get it. So here we've got our little bat with the golden sheen, and then our glow in the dark, some more golden sheen, sparkly crystals, like this little grouping of crystals, including the chevron ones, and then these purple rondelles, some more golden sheen, and then a glow in the dark closer to this connection point. And then one more crystal so that we can use our crimps without them getting eaten by the bead cap. Okay, so I know I need at least 4 crimp tubes. There's 5 for this project, for this side of things. And like I said, they might both end up being strung designs. I'm sure you'll all forgive me if that's the case, but this one's already at least partially chain, you know. I still haven't decided if I'm doing anything with these sections of chain. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Let me think about that. But I do know that I want to crimp this so that I can connect it with a jump ring to the link. And I don't want it any longer than that. That already feels like I'm kind of pushing the length a little bit. Is that too long? I don't think it's too long. Oh, what if I do 2 strands? That could add some things. Because I want to use all of these things, but I don't know that I necessarily need to use them here in this order. Do I slide my wire out to this point and shorten it by just a little bit so that I can use some of these other beads elsewhere? What if I just did this? I took out the crystal rondelle and one of the chevron crystals, barrel shape, right shape, I don't know. And then I'm stringing these guys back on. I've seen so many versions of necklaces with this guy as the pendant because he's a great little pendant. And a lot of people really embrace that. And I'm just trying to figure out what my version is going to be. I think I like that length better for connecting to this bat connector. So that was a good move, moving that out. I'm going to go ahead and crimp this end, and we're going to finish this strand, and then I'll figure out how and if I'm going to add more. And I think that I will. I might even add that as a focal from a second, because I'm not using this one. I'm going to be using these, the bats in flight, for the earrings, and they're reversible, so I can have them mirror each other. See? Okay, I'm going to finish this side of the bats, this strand. I may do another strand. I may not. Let's see how it looks. But I do know that I only need a small loop. And if you have not seen the magical crimper used before, it is meant to be used with 0.018 to 0.019 beading wire. The medium soft flex is 0.019, and that's inches. That's 0.48 millimeter for comparison. And it only works with 2x2 crimp tubes. It is really important that you get a crimp tube that it has a decent size wall and has no seam. Otherwise your crimp will just crumble. And there's this spherical concavity inside. And you just want to center your tube inside there, just like this. And once you have it centered, give it a squish. And what you do is you pinch down the 4 corners of that tube and it turns into a little ravioli. And then rotate it 90 degrees from where you just were, so it's straight up and down inside your crimper, and then squish it again. And then just open your pliers a little bit and rotate it around, giving it little squishes until you don't have any resistance anymore. Make sure you keep it centered. That is important, that it starts centered and stays centered. And if you need to pull it out to, kind of check on it, you can. And you just squeeze until it's done. Just give it little squishes. You're not squeezing the crap out of it, but you are giving a nice firm little squish. And once you've done that, let's get one more. There it is. You smooth that tube into a nice little ball of crimp. So it just feels like a smooth bead and it's gentle against the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and snip that with my flesh cutters right up against the crimp. Some people like to put it in a few beads. I haven't found that necessary, but I have had necklaces that were maybe not as tightly crimped as would otherwise be and had those ends kind of like poke out, and that was not fun for me. So I have a tendency to not. I'll usually snip it and it's just fine like that. All right, so I'm going to need the same amount again to finish that, plus about 1 inch or 2 to crimp. Snipping that wire, setting it aside, and then I'm just going to mirror what I've already done, which was I've already got my my glow in the dark 10 millimeter on there, and I've got the caps around it, and then I've got a star cut, a golden sheen, obsidian, another star cut. Let me pick a couple of nicely purple, compare them to the other. Those are a little bit darker. Just so that since I've only got the 4, I may as well kind of match them as closely as possible. So one of those Malaysia Jade Rondelles, the dyed quartz. Another one of these. Let's see if I can pick one that has a little bit more of that pinkish purple flash. That one kind of does. Yes, that one does. Use that one. And then another purple one, star cut, golden sheen, a little 8 millimeter golden sheen, which I did buy another strand of those. So I have plenty. Oh, another star cut. Another bead cap, 10 millimeter glow in the dark. And I am choosing ones that have a lot of white flecks because that's what glows in the dark, friends. So there are other ones that look more dark, like, ooh, dark. But I actually don't want those because I want the stuff that's going to glow. All right, and then another crystal. All right, and then I'm going to crimp this the same way I did the other side. There's 2 things that I do differently when I do this second crimp. Any other crimps I do tonight, I will still do on the camera, but I'm not going to talk you through every step. So I put my crimp tube on and I slide my wire back through it, and I scoot this crimp as close as I can to that bead. See, I've got a little bit of a curve right here, so I know I've got some slack. And then I put my thumb between the crimp tube and the crystal so that there's a little gap. I need room to be able to work my pliers, and then I just pull that tail until I get it the size that I need to match the other side, and again, as close as possible to that crystal without it being in danger of getting crunched. And then the other thing that I do differently, and that was me holding the crimp tube with the pliers right up against that crystal and then little tug to adjust. Now I'm going to squish, and this time instead of pulling it out and showing you the four corners because I know that it made them, I'm just going to open my pliers enough to rotate it around and squish again. Now what I did by doing that is I was able to keep it centered. I didn't have to worry about recentering it because I pulled it away from the pliers. I found that when I was learning how to do this, it made it so much easier for me to make sure that I stayed centered so I'd get that nice smooth ball of crimp, rather than pulling it away from the tool. So I just get in here, snip that right up against it, and I have my bottom strand, which is going to attach to these, and I'm going to go ahead and do that because I know that that's what's happening. Any other design choices I might make are going to be built off of this. And I'm kind of thinking, let's see, get my stainless steel jump rings, and I'm just using these small ones because I want them to, I don't want them to take up a lot of space. Let's see if they give me enough movement. So just opening up this jump ring. And when I was first learning how to do things decades ago, before there was a YouTube and it said open the jump ring, I did this, which just completely deformed the loop where you just open it like this. No. So what you want to do is you want to hold the ring in one of your pliers, use another set of pliers, and then just swing it towards you. So you're just a small rotation of the wrist. So that circle's actually still there. They're just not lined up end to end. Okay. I think this is how I want it. So this is the part that I'm not sure of. This might be too small for the placement of this hole in the filigree bat, but I'm gonna give it a try. Get this closed. A little squeeze and a swish to make sure that that's metal to metal. And then, yep, I have just enough clearance. It's just right. There's a tiny little catch, but not much. Not enough to interfere. But again, it's not taking extra space. So I'm going to just do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just making sure that when I do it, I attach the bat so that it is flying away. So I've got my other strand right here, and I take the bat. If I want it to attach like this, then it needs to fold down like this. So I'm just wiggling it onto that other end. I didn't quite open it enough. Readjust my grip. That might be all I need. Okay, so I've got my bat on there. And I'm just rotating that jump ring around again so I can get a good grip on this other side with my pliers. Just whoop, wiggle that closed. Okay. Oh no. How did that happen? I knew what I was doing, but I did it wrong. Okay. Yeah, so I need to fix that. I thought I put it on correctly, but I didn't. So triple check that, guys. I only checked it once and I thought I had it right. It was not right. Okay. So if this bat is flying away, that's what I needed. I needed this side. I just connected the wrong side. It's okay, friends. Now the bat is flying away. Okay, you see all that, right? Okay, so this is the main necklace. So this, I want to be right about at my collarbone. And we have room to drape another something here. And I think that we could use these chains and a small section of beading wire, super tiny section of beading wire, to put this guy here with some color. He needs some color with him, or he needs glow in the dark, or he needs both. What if, because these are my smaller ones. Whoops, they are not. Those are now my smaller ones. I accidentally had one of the 10mm there. He's gonna need a jump ring. Let me get that. It doesn't need to be much of one. In fact, one of these might be just right. Let's try it. Just enough to string him on in between other beads. It's like going to be the tiniest section of strung, but I don't want a stiff, I could use beading wire and make a link there instead, but I don't really want it stiff. I want that drape that you get with beading wire, and we have room. If this drapes down a little bit, that's fine too. If that's a little bit longer, we have plenty of room. Because I don't want to do, I did a 3-strand with the spiders. I'm only planning on doing a 2 for this one. I think 2 is just right. And I do want it to be more delicate with these guys. So kind of a matter of figuring out what to use there. Maybe I'll just use some of the spacers and not worry about getting color. Let's see what I can do here. So if I use these, and I use maybe, there's going to be plenty of silver. I don't need silver there. Maybe I need this. I want to see how that fits with the size jump ring that I did. Gets a little bit more of the purple. This is what I've done. And some more glow in the dark. And I can crimp both ends of this and then attach those chains and this wire to this connector through this hole here. Let's go for it. I mean, it's the tiniest bit of wire to waste if I decide I want it longer. Like, I'm not too worried about that. I'm good on these crimps too, so. Not that I'm just throwing away crimps, but you know, needs must, right? Again, very small loop, and then I will crimp. I don't need to go through the whole thing with you. So this is something I've been thinking about since the subscription first came out, like the cats and the bats, and if I wanted to do that. And then when the companion bundle also had great options for both, I'm like, okay, well, that's what I'm doing for my twofer. You know, sometimes very often it's here's the chain design, here's the strung design. This time it is completely themed. We've got our bats and our cats. Do I want that to just go through? Well, no, because I have to do it from the other side too. That's fine. Just do it how I usually do. Just getting that little bit of beading wire. And then again, just enough to comfortably crimp. On the other end of this, be able to make my loop, have room to pull it through, and then cinch it down as close as we can to that rondelle. This is the tricky bit. Oh, it's going through there anyway. No, I don't want to. I don't want it to go through there. Just pull it long enough to get my fingers on that tail. All right, Okay. And then that's actually rather too small, but that's okay because I'm going to hold the crimp and then tug that end just to get it back more where I want it. This is absolutely the shortest section of strung beads I've ever done. And like I said, I didn't want a stiff link. I could have done that with craft wire and made a link. Would have been very easy. But I would have lost my drape. Okay. Let me get a pin because I'm gonna get two sections of this chain that are equidistant, the same length. I know that they're not consistent because I was just going for approximations when I first cut them. So I'm just gonna put the end of this chain through a pin until I get two that are the same number of links. I have several sections, I think 6 sections. So like these two, they're the same number of links. Perfect. We will use those too. All right, back to our tiny jump rings. Here's our jump ring. Swing that open. I'm going to put the chain on first, and then the end of this strand. Okay. And then another tiny jump ring. This time I'm doing the strand and then the chain. Don't think it really matters, but in my head it does, so I do it. Just make sure that your jump rings line up and that you don't have any gaps. Okay. So then we have this section and it needs to connect to here with a jump ring. I'm glad I decided to have them fly out since I decided to add a strand. I wasn't sure if I was going to, and then I did. And we're going to use them as multi-point connectors, not just links. So that, and then that, and get this guy closed. Okay. It's working. Everything is facing the right direction. This is going to be suspended fairly high, but I don't think I'm going to mind it. I think it's going to be fine. Let's see what I do with the rest of it. I think I might be ready to finish the necklace with chain and move on to the bracelet. It's 45 minutes in. I really hope you guys were settled in for a nice long make. Sorry that I didn't have things more planned, but like I said, life got a bit lifey, as Becky likes to say, and I prioritized family, so I don't think any of you would begrudge me that. But it does mean that I am doing a lot more of this on the fly than I usually do. I usually do a certain amount of my design on the fly because I don't like to put together a full prototype and then break it down and then do it again for the video. That's not my process. Yes, I like that. I like it. Guys, I think this was the right move. I think this is the right move. And then I'm going to finish this with chain because I feel like this is already kind of bead heavy and I kind of want to just keep it nice and light at the top. So as much as I want to incorporate more of these fantastic beads that I pulled out, this feels done for the necklace. So what I need to do now is get, where did the rest of my necklace, my chain go? Is it this? No, that's a different shape. I thought I had all of my chain out, like I pulled it out of the package. I did, but where did it go? These are the ones that were already cut. Guys, I'm going crazy. Oh, there it is. There it is. I just moved it off on the side of the table. Okay, move that crimp tube away, and let's get this strung. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to attach the chain. I don't think that will actually work. I think I have to go one size up on the jump rings for this part, just because this is a snug clearance, but I had control over the size of this, but I think that it won't actually have room to play well with the chain using those. So I'm gonna step it up. Step it up in size to do this one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach one side of the chain to the back connector, and then I'll figure out how much chain I need to finish it for the length that I want, and then remove enough space to clasp. Ooh, I haven't decided on a clasp yet. I knew I was forgetting something. Now I couldn't use the clasp that came in, I couldn't use the clasp that came in the companion bundle, I think it was. That was the one that I couldn't use. No, they have toggle clasps. Oh, it was the one from the spider. I chose not to use that one. There are toggle clasps in both of these sets that we tested, and they can be used, or they're already hypoallergenic. So putting the bat wing through here. Okay. And then not that chain, this chain. Not the little segments. Okay. I'm just gonna, off camera, hold this up to me and figure out where I want it to rest on me so that I can have these strands hang the way I want, and move my hair out of the way. And where does this chain need to be to finish that? And then I will subtract the length necessary. I'm gonna tighten that up just a little bit. That feels good. That's a good length. Okay, so this is how much chain I need to where I'm, pardon me, holding it right here. If I use this toggle clasp, that is a nice long bar. I remember that now. That's gonna be really good for the necklace. I might use the same for both necklaces. That is actually also gonna take a lot of space because it is a chunky toggle clasp, which I like. And having the chain means that it is going to articulate really well through there. So this is how much chain I need if I don't count the length to do the toggle clasp, and a couple of jump rings to connect them. So this is where I'm going to cut my chain, because I connected my toggle clasp and measured it out there. And I was using my memory wire cutters to cut this stainless steel chain so that I don't mess up my flush cutters. All right, move these little ones away for now. We are dealing with the big boys because, okay, so that's the first thing that I needed to do. Then I'm gonna go ahead and attach the chain to the other side and then put them together and cut at basically the halfway mark. And that's where I'm going to attach the toggle clasp. So that's my method for doing it. It is approximate, it's not precisely measured. The ring does take more space than the bar, but it still ends up being at the back of my neck, roughly where I want it. So I go with it. If you want to give your bar a little bit, or your ring a little bit more room, or your bar a little bit more room, you can. You absolutely can. So this is the bat wing onto the jump ring. Come on. And then the other side of this chain. Since this is what I decided I needed for length. And then I'm going to close this. This is basically my necklace minus the toggle clasp. Isn't that fun, guys? It's fun. It did still create a little bit more of a bar, but it's not nearly as stiff as it would have been if it was actually metal. And when you're wearing it, it's actually more across like this. That's more how it fits. But I need these guys close together so that I can find the approximate middle and give it another snip. Rather than opening and closing these links, I don't think they're soldered, but it's just easier sometimes just to snip it off. All right, and for me, when I am putting on a necklace, this is going to be the right side. I like to put the fiddly bit on the right side because I'm right-handed, so in that case, that would be the bar. Just making sure that that jump ring, it looks very thin, but I wanted to make sure that it was one that I remembered that it was stainless steel and actually quite strong. My tug test didn't deform that at all. So just confirming my jump rings because it does look thin, but that doesn't mean that it is. All right, and this bar and the ring are the same on both sides, so I don't have to worry too much about how I place them. Just attach them. And just to make sure I didn't screw anything up, I'm going to put this necklace on real quick and make sure that it fits. Because sometimes I'm wrong. And sometimes it's perfect, friends. Yes, those bats, they like hug just the lower part of my neck, just a little bit. And then the top strand sits right at the base of my throat with the pendant right at that hollow. So it is a little bit more like choker style for the top part of it, but it is the perfect length overall. I like it. It was a good move. Okay, so we have finished our first necklace with our golden sheen obsidian bats. Like I said, very, very on theme for bats. And that was kind of the point, is like, okay, if we're going to do something that's very bat, what are we going to do? And this is what I did. This is what I did for my bat necklace. So let's make a bat bracelet. I already bent this filigree link so that he could be a bracelet bar. And I think I'm going to turn him into a dangle, a big dangle, but I don't care because he's going to be fun. And I am going to use a bunch more of the glow in the dark for this. And we're going to use some of this labradorite because he's labradorite guy. And I thought I might use these on this, but I don't think I'm going to use them on this. But let's see what else we put on the strand. So I'm going to make, because this is the strand that I want. And I think that I'm going to do, I have this chain, which is kind of small, but I do have some curb chain. Where did it go? I was just looking at it because I thought it was my chain. I'm wondering about using some of this curb chain and just using a lobster claw since I'm going to have a dangle. Because I also don't want to use one of the really big, even these ones from the companion bundle are kind of big for a bracelet. I think Becky used it for a bracelet. I think this is less big than this. Like, look how much longer that bar is. So these guys are going to be my necklace clasps. I could possibly do this because this is also a nice long bar, and since it's going to sit in an oval with the smallest end, this is actually going to hold quite well for a bracelet. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to do similar to what we did on the first one, except we're going to have two beaded lengths from this bat. What I need to figure out is how long I want those to be. So if I was going to do this and this clasp, when clasped, takes how much space? Three centimeters. So 3 centimeters. I need to make sure I take off 3 centimeters. So from there to there, I'm looking at beaded lengths that are about 5 centimeters because I'm going to need room for 4 crimps and jump rings. Yeah, so I'm going to do 5 centimeter lengths, and then we'll kind of assemble it a little bit before I finish them off. And I can always add extra jump rings around the clasp. But I'm going to do my dangle to hang from the loop. And that's going to have this guy on it. I'm going to give him a little bit of space, though. I have to figure out how I want to do with his dangle. I'm going to do a dangle with him, though, because I want to use him. I want to use him, and I chose the other guy for the bat focal. But he fit. He fit with what I wanted to do with the filigree links. So still using this guy. He's just going to be a dangle. Okay. Oh, but this is the wrong. Hold on. Do these guys take the same space? They take a little bit less space. But only a little bit. Because I was measuring this because that's what I used on the other one, but I'm going to be using this. So still, we're going to start with 5 centimeters of beaded length. So what can we do with 5 centimeters? Okay, guys, I'm actually going to plot and plan. I need to move these things a little bit more so we can see. Okay, so we've got this section here. And I am going to plot and plan a design that uses 5 centimeters. We'll have some bead caps on him so he'll take a little bit more space. And then this. And then this. And then this. That's just about 5 centimeters, guys. So this is the Star Cut 8 millimeter glow in the dark purple roundel, the 10 millimeter glow in the dark purple roundel, and then the 8 millimeter glow in the dark, and then a crystal, and that's about 5 centimeters. So then we have this, and it's going to take about that much space to do a crimp and a jump ring. And then we repeat again. Let's see how all this lines up. I don't usually do this. This is not my normal process, but that's okay because it doesn't have to be my normal process. Do this, one of these guys, this, one of these guys, more room to crimp, and then we have room to crimp, room to crimp. That's what I still need. So I need something special on either side of this. So we've got, I wonder if we should do one of these on either side. No, that looks weird. That is the right idea. Those rondelles need to sit up straight, but they're not gonna. Okay, so they'll take a little bit less room, but also I'm adding bead gaps. I think, oh, I was gonna use some labradorite. Guys, I'm totally wrong on this. Okay. Totally wrong on this. And that's actually super adjustable, getting these labradorite in. Let's open this up and get some labradorite out because that actually makes a lot of things way easier. I would be picky and look for all the ones with the flash, but it is 3:45 this morning and I want those. What if I do 3 labradorite in each of these spots? 3, 3, 3, and 3. Right? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Maybe a touch too long. But this is gonna sit upright. Guys, I never do this. Oh, and I was off screen. Sorry, I pushed it. Sorry. Okay. This is my preferred bracelet length right there. And things are going to fit a little bit differently around. Let's start. Where's my little bead stoppers? Just had them because, yep, there they are. Sorry, I took a lot of my things while I was traveling because I had committed to doing a live during this last week. And then I had also joined Becky on the late night beading since I had a setup that was mostly working except for my disembodied voice. That's a whole other story. Okay, here is what I'm gonna do. I've got my beading wire and I'm going to build one side, crimp it, and then bead stop. And the crimped side I'm going to connect to my filigree bat. And that way I can check the length of the whole thing around my wrist and see how much space I have left. And then I can decide if I want to remove any of the labradorite closer to the stopped side, which is going to be near the clasp, because the crimped side is already going to be connected. So this is what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just grabbing those beads from up in my tray, but it is no longer visible because this is my work area. All right, get this crimp on. Yes. No. I want the crimp the other direction. No, I'm missing one. I am missing a bead. Oh, that's going to really throw me off. I didn't do the same beads on both sides, guys. I did not do the same beads on both sides. So that's okay. I'm going to make sure that I do. I guess I could have gone ahead and crimped it and then fixed the other side. I was not thinking. Because chances are I'll just be removing some labradorite near the clasp. If this is too long, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'd rather have all that fun glow in the dark goodness. Because guys, we're glowing in the dark. I told you that's one of the two things that I'd already decided. It's cats versus bats and glow in the dark. All right. Flesh cutters do not crimp very well, but this does. Oh yeah, guys, this is going to be a long video. I just saw that we're already over an hour and I haven't even finished the bats. Close though. I'm really close to finishing the bracelet, and I did have the introduction at the beginning. And I do know that the cat one, at least, I want to do more solidly strung. I've got a lot of fun things I want to do with the cats, but they don't need to have the big space for the filigree links. All right, and then snipping this, because I'm not going to be adding to it. I'll possibly be removing of it. So I'm making enough room to crimp, but instead I am using a bead stopper. And then I'll make the other section and we'll attach both to the link and check the size. This is how we're doing it. And I do like bringing in the labradorite. It just lightens it up, and I like that. Oh, that one at least has some good flash. Hopefully some other ones got some good flash too of what I grabbed, but that one just caught my eye. And I need to get out a couple more crimps. Bag of crimps. Hey, at least the earrings are going to be easy, right? Yes. Yes. Getting this crimped. And see, I'm not describing it, but I am still making sure that I'm taking the time to make sure that it's centered. But otherwise, I'm just making the crimp. Finishing it right here where you can see my method, even if you're not seeing the details all up close. Just repeating it. All right, and then the same thing. Just snipping off enough so that I can crimp later. And getting my other bead stopper involved. Okay, now we need to attach these to our link. And see, they've already got a little bit of a curve to them, so I'm going to lean into that, and I'm going to attach them so that this guy joins that same curve. So that's just trying to make it easy on myself for later. So I'm going to be doing the small jump rings on this end, close to the link, just like I did on the necklace. These are stuck together. Hang on while I get these separated. That was the necklace. It was sitting on top of my pliers. Not anymore. Okay. So this one is the strand. And then the bat curving this way. Okay, just like that. And then we'll do this one. Wow, that was not supposed to happen. I caught the edge of my mat with my pliers as I went to bring them up to use them. And I just flung crimp tubes all the way across my mat because that bag was open. So everything just got jumbled, especially some crimp tubes. So when I'm done attaching this, we might pause for me to tidy that up a little bit because it's currently all over my mat making a big mess. And that's not going to be fun for anybody. Okay. That jump ring is not quite closed all the way, but it did wriggle itself loose from my pliers while I was trying to close it. So I am getting a better grip and getting it right in there up against. Okay. So here's the bracelet. Here are the beads, and they are way too close for a toggle clasp. So I was right. With crimping and jump rings, I think I'm just going to remove the labradorite here, because I like my bracelet to fit a little bit loose, but not that loose. So I'm going to remove, how much do I want to remove? If I want it to be a little bit loose, do I remove all the labradorite or just 4 of them? I'm leaning towards 4. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and look at these. See these? I've got more flash on that middle one. So I'm going to take off all 3 and just put that middle one back on. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to look at all 3 of these. I think I have more flash on this last one. So I'm removing the other 2 and using the one that has more flash because I can. I wasn't picky about flash near the bat, the filigree bat, but if I'm going to choose the one with more flash, I'm going to choose the one with more flash. I think we got some decent flash up here. Yeah, there's some fun flash going on. A little bit less on this side. Okay. Checking this now that I've removed those couple of labs from each side. Yeah. Yep. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. I am going to go ahead and, no, I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay, there's a lot less chaos on my mat now. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and get these other 2 sides crimped, and we're going to attach it to the lobster claw, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to use our other bat as a dangle, because I'm crazy and want a big dangle. It's all right. Mainly because I just want to use him, and I want to use them on like some seriously bat themed jewelry. I could probably save him and use him another time, but I'm not sure how many spooky more designs I'm making this year. And bats, for me at least, are a bit on the spooky side. Beki, they're more of like a local cultural thing because she's down in the Austin area and they're known for bats. Okay. Just getting this in here. Got it right up to that labradorite, but not on it. And just rotating around and crimping. And you see how I didn't just do it in a few quick presses. I did it until it was done. And I think that sometimes if you're working on it and it's not quite working out, sometimes you just need to keep going. So, and I'm attaching this with jump rings, so if I need to adjust the size later, I can. I think I've removed enough that this won't be too loose on me. If it is, then I can rework it. But not on this video. I think that design-wise, you guys have the idea. All right, there's my main part of my bracelet. And now I'm going to use these larger jump rings like we did with our other clasp. Only a one size up, really. And getting this side attached to the loop. And then this side attached to the bar. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Opposite. Opposite, opposite. Because, again, I'm right-handed, so if I'm wearing this on my left wrist, I'm doing the fiddly bit with my right hand, which means I'm gonna be fiddling with the bottom of the bracelet. I want the loop to drape over the top of my wrist. So I need my loop on this side. So I'm glad I thought through that because that would have been annoying. And I mean, it depends on how you want to wear your bat. I want to wear my bat so that his head is toward my hand. That's how I'm choosing to wear him. So this bracelet, I'm not used to a bracelet having an up and a down. And so I'm glad I stopped and thought about that. I'm impressed. 4:05 in the morning and I stopped and thought about that. Looked at the way he was hanging. How you hanging? How's it hanging? That's it. That's the phrase. Okay. So, got this attached here. I want to see how far I need my dangle to reach. So here's what I mean. So here's my bat. I want my loop to hang here so that I can easily put my bar through and clasp it. Is that too loose? No, it's not going to come off my wrist. It is fairly loose, but I like my bracelet to be able to move. But that was actually also really easy to do without having to hold a dangle. If I have a dangle, it doesn't hurt, but I do need him about this far away from the loop for that to be effective. So I'm wondering if I want to just dangle him from a smaller section of that chain. Because remember, I had these. I don't need it as much. I need like half that length. Okay, and then a little, oh, but he's gonna need a big jump ring. He's gonna need a big jump ring because of how thick that bail is that's built into him. That is built into him, so I need to make sure. Let's go with this and see how it does. And then a small one, probably this one, to connect the chain to this other existing jump ring. Or to this loop. I haven't decided yet. Let's see. All right, first we see if this fits on this jump ring, and it does, which is fantastic. And then we take one of these shorter lengths of chain that I made. That's super short. Where'd the other one go? The other short one. Oh, there it is. Okay. That's just a touch longer. But I don't need length. I just need a little bit of space. So we're gonna go with this. I already decided I didn't need length. Okay, so get that snapped in position. A little squish. That's gonna be our dangle. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Okay, let me do this one. All right. And if I want him hanging where I can see him, he needs to, well, I'll grab him from the other end. I'll grab him upside down, but he needs to hang like this. Okay. Okay. And then I decided rather than attach him to the other jump ring and put more strain on that jump ring, I'm attaching him to the loop on the end of my loop for the towel. The loop on the loop. And that end of it. Okay. Oh, that ended up getting the jump ring on it. Come here. There we go. This is a little bit tougher jump ring, but that's okay. I don't want to lose my bat, so just getting him lined up and a squish. Okay, so when I'm wearing him, he'll dangle like this. He keeps wanting to flip around. Which way is he when he's at rest? Oh, because of where I attached him. Well, shoot. I think I need to attach him to the jump ring if I want him to dangle the right direction. Yeah. Just because that is going to be laying flat against my wrist, so he's going to go the wrong way. Or I need to remove a link, because that's the problem. Let's try this, because that's the easier solution. Guys, I wonder if I should do this in 2 parts. Or if I should just push through, and this is just going to be a really long video. I've done really long videos for my twofers before, like when I did the 6 necklaces. this and 2 pairs of earrings. So this isn't as many items, but it's close since I'm doing bracelets. I usually just do necklaces. Okay. Get this on here, holding my dangle, attaching my toggle, and then letting the dangle fall where he wants to be. That's my bat bracelet. He's fun. Sorry, you couldn't see. It's hard to show you upright on screen, but I held my wrist upright to see how he fell. But yeah, we've got our bat and our bat. And yeah, I keep bumping that. Sorry, guys. And then we've got our necklace. And let's do earrings. Let's do earrings. It's okay if you have to watch this in several parts. I am going to go ahead and still record it in one go. I might pause for, just moving some beads away and bringing more beads on. But don't feel bad if you have to watch this in multiple. I think I'm going to do them moons facing in. If you need to watch this in multiple sittings, this is going to be definitely a longer video. And you're still going to have Beki's coming up too. I don't know what she has planned. I told her some of my ideas, but I'm not sure exactly what she has planned or how long it's going to take. I'm just a glutton for punishment sometimes and come up with really complicated things that don't really need to be complicated, but they're complicated anyway. Is this going to fit on that by itself, or am I going to need... You know what? I have sections of chain. Oh. How about for these earrings? Is that going to be too long if I have that and something above it? I think it will. I think I need to cut those in half like I did the other one. So I'm going to put one end on the pin and the other end on the pin and see if we have a middle link that I can just cut so that they're the same length. I do have a middle link I can cut. It's that one. Just to make sure that these two are the same length. Okay, move these other chains out of the way because I do want a little bit of dangle from that. Yes, that's not nearly as excessively long. And I'll get some more of those small jump rings out because I will need those. And then I'm going to use these eye pins to put just a few beads. I do feel like we need to do some more of the glow in the dark because that is a thing that we're doing. And maybe some labradorite, because remember I pulled off those 4 labradorite? Maybe this is where I use them. Maybe I do just a simple little thing like this. Ooh, it's got some nice flash too. See that? Yep. Maybe I just do this as a small link above that, and then it dangles from it. I like that. It doesn't add a whole lot of color, but I don't need it to add color. But these will definitely have some movement, and they are bats in flight, so I want them to have movement. I like this. I like this. Okay. The one thing I need to figure out, so I need to get these attached. Get these small jump rings again. I have to figure out if I want my links parallel or perpendicular. And it's all going to depend on the number of links. So what I'm going to do, easiest way to figure this out, is to go ahead and attach the jump rings to either end of the chain. This one is going to be the jump ring with the dangle and one end of the chain. And these should be the same length, so whatever decision I make for this one should be for the other one as well. Get that nice and snug. And then another jump ring. For this end of the chain. Okay. Let me add the one that doesn't have beads on it yet. So if I want this to hang naturally straight, I want them to be parallel loops. I want them to be parallel loops, see? Because this is a straight line right here while it's holding these. It's alternating the links, forward, straight, forward, straight. And with my ear wires, no, my ear wires go the other way. Right? I want them perpendicular. They need to be perpendicular. I was wrong. Okay. So just tightening this here. Let me put these guys on here. See if I can do it with this one already attached. I should be able to, but I'm gonna do another one that has more white flecks. That's a good one. And then some labradorite. Okay, so I want this perpendicular, so I have this loop as a straight line, and I'm bending it to the side. And then I'm taking my memory wire cutters and snipping these off because they're stainless steel. And then I am using my round nose pliers. Told you we'd get to them eventually. And that may not be long enough. Let me just go right here. Make a little bit bigger loop than I usually do. Okay. So I've got, I'm gonna use these ones to hold this loop. And then this one to hold this loop, and to confirm, I did it perpendicular. So then when I open this loop, I should be able to attach my ear wire. May as well get out a few of these because we're going to be using them for both designs. All right. Yeah. So this one I'm just opening and putting on. It doesn't really matter. When I do the other one, I am going to make sure that I've got my guys mirrored because I do want to mirror them. This is, and because they're the same front or back, so front and back doesn't matter. If they flip when you're wearing them, it's not a big deal. But whatever direction this one is going, I want the other one to go the opposite. Okay, that one is going this way. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and do the link this time first. I had to figure out if I wanted parallel or perpendicular, so I still had everything attached there, but I don't need to have everything attached for this. So just okay. All right. Okay, and that is also perpendicular. So let's get this guy attached to all his chainy bits. So we've got our charm, our chain, okay. And then we've got our chain again. And the bottom of this link. Just trying to see if I can tell. There it goes. I was checking to see if I could tell where the that link opened. It's really difficult to see, but I do want it to try to face forward. The solid part of the loop to face forward rather than the part that opens. And then this one, so this is the front of my earring and it's mirrored to this one. So I need to make sure that this is the front of my earring, right here. So my tail's at the back. So some long dangly earrings, definitely not the style I usually do. I'm not sure why they're both going the same way though. Oh, because I've just got that one twisted. Here we go. Now they both want to go. And they're just going to twist any way they want to, I guess, but they're mostly going to rest this direction. So these are my earrings. I'm glad I shortened that because that was like twice as long. They're still quite long. These are they shoulder dusters? But they're very lightweight because we're using the chain. Oh, almost shoulder dusters. Okay, so we've got our bat set. Okay, let's get a look at our bat set. And then I will clear the mat and come back ready to start my cat set. Because is it bats or cats? That's what we're doing tonight. Bats versus cats. So while we're working on our bats, you can think about the cats, or while we're working on our cats, you can think about the bats. And I'm using like all the bats. This is too fun. Look at that. Look at all the bats. All the bats. Yes. All the bats. How many bats do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bats. 10 bats. Yeah, this is the bat set. Definitely the bat set. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are with our feline friends, and I have a decision to make on which pendant I want to use for my necklace. I will not be using whichever pendant I don't choose because that might just end up being used for something else at some point, but neither of these are really going to work great as a dangle like I did on the bat side. So not going to do that this time. I'm leaning towards this guy. Like, this is really cute and sweet, and I think I could use this in another design any part of the year. This guy is really cute, but remember when I was talking about how our feline friends, you need like the black cat who is the mastermind and then his ginger friends? I think that this is the mastermind, and I'm bringing in the ginger colors, even though we don't have cats that are that color, to do this. I think I don't want this bail though, and this one is removable. So I'm just going to pop it open and get rid of it. And I'm going to use a jump ring to attach him instead. Oops, almost got it open all the way. A little bit more. There we go. Just popped him open. I just think it's going to sit easier with the beads, and I'm going to have more fun with the beads. Speaking of the beads, these are our friends. So these are the glow-in-the-dark stuff I'm primarily going to be using. I do have more of the glow-in-the-dark black, but I might not be using them as much with these designs because I really want to play with these fun peachy oranges that we got. These are the glow beads. So they're man-made and they do glow in the dark. So we're definitely going to have these guys as almost spacers throughout. They're cats, so we have to use our cat's eye glass beads, which are not as orange as they appear. They are on an orange strand, which I'll be removing them from shortly. But I also love these guys. They're so shimmery. In fact, let me put them on this thing and show them to you because they would show so much better. Look how peachy they are. I love those guys, and they're like bubbles of fun. So I am definitely going to use the bubbles of fun. I don't think I'm going to use any links along this necklace. As I said before when we were talking about it, I do want to lean more towards just a fun strung design. I'm not sure if these oranges play well enough with these ones for me to work to incorporate these, so these are a maybe. So I've got them up farther in my mat. I do know that I want to do these for the earrings, and this is probably going to serve as a bracelet bar type connector. I think it's really delicate and cute, and I think that we could have a lot of fun with that. And I want to make sure that I save some cat's eye and some glow beads to do with that one. So again, this is very feline themed. Tiger's eye, cat's eye, cats themselves, and we're going with the orange and the kind of blue black that you get with these tiger's eye. So not like true midnight black, although a lot of black cats are, but this kind of picks up a little bit more of that sheen that you will see sometimes on a very glossy cat. And of course we have our little crystal cat heads, and they're going to be part of this design as well. So yeah, this is what we're going to do. And we're using so much of this like translucent colors. I'm not sure if I want to use like the black onyx beading wire, or I do have, but only in heavy or fine. Medium. I do have butterscotch, and I'm kind of wondering about doing butterscotch, which is completely different. Not what I was originally thinking. In fact, I have satin silver out that I was thinking of doing instead. But this is going to alter the color of these a lot less than anything else I might choose. Let's compare. I think I don't want black. And I've got the butterscotch here, and I've got the satin silver. So let's see what I like better. So here's the butterscotch. Here is the satin silver. And if I string like 3 of these guys on, because they are the most translucent out of all the things I'll be using. 3 onto that strand, 3 onto this strand. And then I'm just going to compare, guys. I'm just going to look at those 2 sections of beads and decide which one I like the look of better. Okay. And I've got all these beads on the bottom, so we're going to do this. All right. So the top one is the satin silver, and the bottom one is the butterscotch. And you do get a little bit warmer look with the butterscotch. I'm going to go with butterscotch. That was unexpected. Literally, that was not even on my radar until just a moment ago. But again, that's why a lot of times I will design as I go, because sometimes I'll have a better idea that I come up with as I'm rocking along. So we're going to do this on butterscotch. I love this. That is so fun. I haven't really used the butterscotch yet, not for much. So get the dish out of the way, snip open a couple of these strands because I know I'm going to want these beads, but I don't know where and how many. And then I'm just gonna start playing with the pattern. I'm gonna give my my little kitty cat a jump ring since I took away his bail. So here's some of the cat's eye. See, a lot softer color when you get that orange strand out of them. These are opaque, so these will look the same regardless. But they're the same, oh, they're a tiny bit bigger than the cat's eye. So as I'm trying to figure out where and how to place everything, that is a good thing to keep in mind. And I am going to go ahead and give this guy his jump ring because I will be designing on the strand with my guy in the middle, just like I did with the bat. I just find that easiest. But he needed a jump ring so that he can string the right direction. I'm going to move these moons up, moon cats. I think they're really cute with that pattern on the moons. This is a thicker jump ring than some of the other ones I was dealing with earlier. I want to make sure that I get it closed properly there. That's snapped into place. Okay, so take these off because they're not going to be the first things I string. I'm gonna go with glow in the dark right on either side of our main attraction because hello, glow in the dark. I need to be right up front and center. And they're small beads, so they should play well with my jump ring. And that's what I'm going to check right here. I've got these glow-in-the-dark beads, and they snug right up there. There's a tiny bit of room for that to happen, and so I'm just going to keep going from here, and I'm just going to play with the beads because they need a little playing. I think I might do some kind of orange sections. I didn't know that I wanted to do that until I just thought about it. Oh, I might need to change this because of the size of the beads. Hold on. What if we do the cat's eye and then the very next bead is glow in the dark? I think that's fair. And then our kitty cat, our mastermind. Got his ginger entourage. That's what these orange sections are going to represent. Okay, so then we do this. Oops, I did it backwards. Cat's eye, closest to the pendant. One of those guys. How did I mess that up? I did it wrong on the other side of it too. Guys, it's 4:40 in the morning. I have every excuse in the world. In fact, my house is going to start waking up here in the next 20-30 minutes. But I'm going to keep going because I want to do this. And I honestly don't think that this one will take as long because I'm not doing multiple strands. I think I'm not doing multiple strands. Let's see if I change my mind, but I'm not feeling it on this one. The bat one kind of needed it. But the kitty cat, that's what I meant to do. I meant to do that. And then we're going to do this. And then back to a cat's eye. So we came back out of that pattern. But now I want to start putting in some other fun things, like maybe we have this cat right here. And maybe this cat is hanging out with some fun tigers. Like this tiger's eye. That one's kind of chipped. I want the ones that are like fully round. And the reason that I saved these bead caps for this pattern is because they feel a little bit more like cat's paws. Do they not? I think that's kind of fun. Also, they fit right there between the cat's ears. So we don't even have to have something between the cat and that. And then I like these chunky spacers. I want that spacer to have a moment. I might not like this, but this is kind of what I was thinking. It brings in our cool tiger's eye, and you get all that chatoyancy from it. And then we just have these little pops of orange sections. So the orange sections, as you can see, are going to be much smaller than the, see? And this way, this cat, they're all going to be facing up, our cat crystals. But this one has the bead cap between its ears, and this one is going to have a cat's eye between its ears. So there's going to be a nicely fitting bead, regardless of if it's the cat that's going into or coming out of that pattern. So then we're going to have these like orange sections, gently orange sections, that are going to be smaller, but most of this is going to be like that silver, blue, and cat pattern. Yeah, I'm liking it, guys. I'm liking it, I'm liking it. Yes, please. And I have 10 of these cat crystal heads. So I'll only be able to do this repeat twice on each side with the cats, but that's okay because that's going to be the main focus. We'll do smaller beads around the back of the neck as we, you know, continue the pattern. But we'll have at least those. And then I might have a couple of cats on the bracelet, but I'm thinking I'm more likely to have them in the earrings. So we will see. We will see where I put those last two cats. I'm thinking they're going to be in the earrings though. Crystal cat heads. So I'm liking this. I think it's fun. And it's so different than the bat set that I made. This is going to feel different. It's going to look different. This is like an army of cats. Just as I think it needs to be. Just an army of cats. How fun. How fun, how fun. Okay, so this finishes this pattern. I'm going to check to see how much longer I need around the back of the neck. This is going to be a shorter necklace. It's not going to drape down as much because I'm only doing the one strand. The other one is longer because it had the 2 strands. But this one I'm going to want to just kind of rest around the base of my throat. And we might just finish, because I really love these things, we might just finish with those around the back because I think they're going to feel really nice and smooth. But they don't have to be like tiny beads. Okay, so let me check this length, but this is what we've got so far. All of those cats' heads are facing up, and I do need about an inch or two coming off the back of the neck. And I have enough. I could just keep doing the orange pattern and repeating it. For just a few repeats, which is going to make the back of my neck glow in the dark, which is going to be fun if I have my hair up. See, we just continue it this way with no more of these guys. And I think I like that. I think I like that for finishing this necklace. And it's just a glow on either side of the bubble beads. They look like bubbles to me. check with that cat's eye if we're now, I think we're really close to where I want it. Yes, I'm going to crimp here, friends. I'm going to crimp here. And since I already demonstrated, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to crimp right here where you can see, but not worry too much about it. See what I mean about how this one is going to go more quickly? There were fewer fiddly bits, but I think it's just as fun. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. Here's your reminder, we're going to have a special musical number. I hope. If there's no musical number, I'll put a message up like, oops, sorry, didn't come through. I am not fully responsible. Okay. And then snip it. Butterscotch was absolutely the right choice for this. I'm so happy that I chose that for this necklace. Okay, so I need the same length again, plus some space to crimp. So I'm gonna snip here. And then I'm going to just repeat the pattern that I started on the other side. So I'm gonna get some more of all of this. Just that repeating orange pattern that's cat's eye, glow in the dark, bubble, glow in the dark, cat's eye. And then we've got our crystal kitty face, chin first, because these are chin to the top. And then we've got our bead cap, open side up, midnight tiger's eye. I think they called it midnight tiger's eye. And then the other side of that bead cap, open side down. And then one of our silver chunky spacers. Again, if you got a different companion bundle, you might not have gotten those spacers. You could choose any other focal bead to go there. Maybe you take the chevrons from the subscription box, or some of the 10mm glow-in-the-dark beads. You could absolutely put something else in that position if you did not get the companion bundle that had those spacers. You got choices, friends. I know you can make good choices. And then our little orange pattern again. Bubble. I need to get off a few more of these glow in the dark beads. I plan on using them in the bracelet as well, so I'm not being picky about how many I pull off. Just grabbed a group of them. There we go. This is us repeating the pattern so far, just checking it as we go, just to make sure that I haven't, seriously messed something up. Let's see, I think I want those two for earrings, so these guys. I just, with the crystals, there's a tiny bit of variation because of the way that they're plated, and so I just picked two that matched well to be my earrings from the remaining 4. Since I decided that I'm going to use them for earrings. Okay. And then we've got 4 repeats of the orange to finish out the length. I wasn't paying attention to how many we did, but that is how many we did. 4 repeats of the orange. I was just going to do the bubble across the back, but I liked continuing the pattern, not just doing the same bead across all of it. Could have, but I didn't. apparently I need at least one more glow bead to finish the necklace. I'll grab it here in a moment when I need it. And then we're going to come up with a design for our bracelet. Like I said, I have ideas because I have that link. So we'll probably do similar to what we did with the bats, in that we will create 2 stranded sections that will connect to that link. Yep, I just need one more for this. We'll use some more in the bracelet. I'll figure that out as I go. All right. I'm just checking this before I do that final crimp, just to make sure that I haven't completely underestimated clasp space. But no, this is going to be perfect. It should rest just below, just around the base of my throat, which is where I like to wear most of my necklaces. Not all, but most. So I've got some curl in this necklace, so I know that it's not going to be a stiff necklace. And then, because I didn't finish the other necklace the same way, so just make sure that you've got your necklace coiled up a little bit. Try and match your loops. And then crimp away. There should be publishing on Tuesday, so I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. I'm not sure if Beki's is going to be Tuesday night. I know that that's the plan, but you know, life can happen sometimes. But she will be posting hers sometime after mine. I should have checked this before I crimped, but I didn't. Gosh, guys, that looks so cute. I love this. Look at how cute this is. My army of cats. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. This is definitely what I wanted to do with this. Let me get some jump rings out for attaching my toggle. Again, I'm going to do the larger toggle for the necklace. Matches the one that we used for the bat necklace. And these two stuck together, but that's okay because I'll open it and take the other one off and then use it. So this is going to be the right side of my necklace as I wear it. So this is where I'm going to put the bar, and I'm going to put the loop on this side because he has a face. Yeah. So that's right side. Here's left side. Left side is a loop. And this one for the bar. A simpler necklace, but I think an appropriate one for the cat side of things. Bats versus cats, friends. I'm impartial. I love them both. But you know I'm going to ask you to pick your favorite. You have to choose a side. Team bats or team cats. But let's keep making for team cats because they're not done yet. All right, moving the necklace off to the side so it's out of the way. And let's figure out what we want to do for our links, because this is a smaller link than we used for the other one. And I planned them all out in that other one, didn't I? Because we had the clasp and the link. sure what I want to do for a pattern on this one. I might repeat some of what I did before, but like truncated, not as much because we're not going to be having the cats. We're probably not using our chunky spacers, but maybe we use the tiger's eye with the bead caps and the bubbles and our other orange beads. Let's get some of this. So I have things roughly placed. I think I'm going to be looking for, whoops, let me try to move this down so you can see it. So I've got my clasp here. Here's the link, roughly leaving half on either side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a strung section that fits about this space. Rather than laying all the beads out like I did before, I'm just going to start stringing and see what I like that fills up that space. So I think we'll start with this idea of just, you know, that same orange repeat that we enjoy. And then in the middle, between them, a tiger's eye. With the bead caps. And then let's see how far the orange repeat takes us towards filling that space, and we'll decide what else we might need. So I've almost got this on here so I can show you. Okay, this is what we have so far. I am looking for just over 7 millimeters, and this is about 6. So this is actually almost perfect for doing one more of the tiger's eye right next to our kitty cat link. And that might be what we try to do with this one. Not that one. Again, I'm making sure that I've got some glow in the dark here. Let's see if this is half of this feels right. This feels like the right length. Yes, friends. And this is where I want to end it for connecting it to our kitty cat on a wire link. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp this end and then clip the other end just like we did before so that I can make adjustments as necessary to the bracelet so that it fits correctly. But I'm going to go ahead and get this crimped. A little bit of a rough edge on my crimp on that side. So not the prettiest crimp I've done. Got a little bit of a rough edge for some reason. Right there. Let me snip the excess wire that is also near there and make sure that that's not what I'm feeling. Because I don't want it scratchy either. Nope, that's not scratchy. And that's my husband's alarm going off. Hopefully he'll snooze and give me a little bit longer. Not that he's going to make me go to bed when he gets up, but you know, there will be another small interruption when he's up and about because he's going to come check on me, see how I'm doing. He's also going to be taking care of the dog, you know, because anybody who has pets knows that that's one of your first priorities upon waking. Take care of the animal. All right, and then I'm going to string the same again so that I can crimp in the same place. So take off 4 of these, that's 3, 4, and then I'm gonna need 3 more of those. Okay. Back back on camera. Oh, he did decide to get up. I can hear him. So I might pause here in just a moment. He's going to be on autopilot to start with, and then he's going to come looking for me. But he'll also know that if I'm still up, I'm probably still filming. So he doesn't make a whole lot of noise anyway, because usually I'm sleeping, so he's trying to be quiet because I'm sleeping. So if anything, you'll hear the dog's clicky claws and know that he's on his way. I have a very supportive husband, so he doesn't mind. Okay, so this is that same length again. It matches what I've already strung. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp this end and then snip off and clip the other, just like I did on the first half of the bracelet. It does mean using extra crimps by having that link in the middle, but also it creates a focal area without having to have a large focal bead to be able to have one of those links. And I didn't worry about bending this one like I bent the bat filigree link. This one is short enough that it doesn't need to be bent to fit nicely on my wrist. The filigree bat was bigger. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing again where we're going to use the smaller jump rings to connect these to our link, and then we'll use the larger ones for the clasp. It's going to be the same clasp as the bat one, which I didn't actually need a dangle in order to do, so I may not make a dangle for this one. We'll see how it feels. I'm currently leaning towards no dangle, just because I don't think it's necessary, and it's a simpler design overall. Like, it's meant to be simpler. All right, snip this guy and clip it. My little bead stopper. Bead stopper, bead buddy. I hear people call them all kinds of things. All right, let's get this going. All right, we've got our strand and then our link. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. Where's that opening? Sometimes it's tricky to find the opening in a jump ring. It's there though. All right, link first, and then strand. This way. Okay. How cute. I like this, guys. It's so cute. That toggle clasp almost feels like overkill with this design, but let's see how it fits on my wrist. Oh, that toggle clasp is going to be too much. How about we switch this one to a lobster claw? I think design-wise, it fits better. So we'll do a lobster claw and this jump ring, because that should fit in the lobster just fine. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and do my last two crimps on this design. Let me get out 2 more crimp tubes. because I did pick them up from when I spilled them earlier. Okay, 2 more crimp tubes. And I need 1 more small jump ring to attach the lobster claw. So this is going to be the one that the lobster claw is going to hook into. This is one that's going to attach it to the strand. And again, because of the way I want this to fit on my wrist with the cat up, this is going to be the side that I'm going to put the lobster in, and this is going to be the side that's going to have the loop. Now, because I'm doing a lobster claw and not the big toggle clasp, chances are I might decide that I do need a dangle after all, but I can always add that. So let's get these ends crimped and the clasp attached, and then make that decision. And then we have earrings. Because I am doing 3-piece sets for both the cats and the bats. Have you been thinking about which team you are? Are you team cat or team bat? You're either a cat or you're a bat. Suppose you could be like me and be both, but you know, that could be controversial. Okay, let's get this in here, snug against, and then tug this. There we go. I just don't want a lot of gap in this strand, so I think that's good. Let's get this going. All right, and then we will crimp this other side. Oh, we are making progress. I have almost finished 2 3-piece sets, mostly design on the fly. Like I said, I had the concept, and I knew that they were gonna all have some glow in the dark because I just think it's fun. That's good. And if I need to adjust this, I can by changing jump rings, but I think that this is going to end up being right. If anything, it's going to be a little bit loose, but I didn't want to take out any of what I'd added. I suppose I could have taken out the tiger's eye at the very end on both sides. So if I do restring it, if it is too loose, that's what I'm going to change. All right, so cat up. So this is my loop side. I think if I need to do a dangle, I'll probably do like a small series, not the full orange repeat, maybe just 3 beads, like 2 cat's eye and a glow, or 2 glow and a cat's eye, something like that, just to have a little bit of a dangle if I feel like I need it. I'm going to try to not have it because I feel like this one is just simple. All right. Why is it? Oh no, did I do it wrong? No. No, yes, I did it wrong. Maybe. Okay, no, I didn't. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. close up this jump ring, and then try to put this bracelet on and see if I need a dingle. Okay, trying to get it as close as possible so that my beading wire doesn't escape. Okay, so I've got the bracelet, the loop, the lobster claw. This is the thing that you end up doing. You end up chasing the loop. Try to hold it down. The worst part for me is just getting the freaking lobster claw open. Okay, guys, I need a dangle. I'm gonna make a dangle, but that's okay. I have a pin right here I haven't used. It's gonna be perfect for putting on a few little beads and making it be a cute dangle. I think I'm gonna go with the idea of having a couple of the glow in the dark instead of just one, but just a small dangle, something to hang on to. Just bending that over. Snipping it with my memory wire cutters because, again, this is a stainless steel pin. And this dangle doesn't have a front or a back. It can just do its job. If I can make my loop. I really am good at doing that. But it is 5:15 in the morning. Hear all those cars going by, people on their way to work, the early risers of the neighborhood. Okay, there's a little gap, but I'm going to close that when I actually close this loop on this jump ring. Not the jump ring, the beading wire loop that I made when I crimped. That way, if I need to just replace the jump ring, I haven't lost the dangle. There we go. Let's see if that's enough of a dangle. It might not be enough. I might have needed a longer dangle. Nope, I can hold that. So I can hold that with my pinky and get my lobster claw open, maybe. Like I said, that's even trickier than getting the loop. This is why I don't use lobster claws very often, because I struggle to open them and keep them open. They just snap right back closed. That was some serious struggle, guys. Come on. Don't close before I got it snapped. There we go. So just a tiny dangle, but it fits. And the bracelet is not too loose. It is pretty loose, but it's not too bad. So here's my bracelet. All right. Next up, we have earrings, but I'm going to go ahead and pause because it sounds like my husband's probably about to leave for work. So I'm going to have a moment with him and be right back. Okay, I've said goodbye to my husband, and I currently have a dog laying on the floor in here. So hopefully she stays nice and calm. She's a little anxious because this is not our normal routine. And so she's like, "What the crap, Mom?" But it's okay because she'll hear me talking to you and she'll settle in because she is used to that. Okay, let's make our earrings. So we've already decided we want to use these cats. I set aside 2 cat crystal faces. I'm going to make some dangly links, some links from which to dangle. I want some that are more straight because I don't want to fight pins today. There's a bunch that are, like, they look straight in the package. And then you start pulling me out and I'm like, are any of these straight? Those are both fairly straight. Okay. I need to just take some time and straighten all my pins at some point, but instead I dig through them when I'm recording, because that's honestly all I've had time for lately. Like I said, I've had some things going on in real life that have meant prioritizing. So thank you again for sticking with me for the long haul, so that you can see this whole design and all of the bits and pieces. I definitely want some glow in the dark in these earrings. I might need some of our fun guys. Let's look at this as an idea. So starting with the cat crystal, glow in the dark, midnight tiger's eye, and another glow in the dark, and then dangle from that. Or the opposite, give us a little bit of space before the cat. Hold on. So we do this. So the cats aren't quite right up against each other. And then we'll need one more glow in the dark on the other side. Of that cat so that we can make a loop. And these guys do need to be perpendicular loops, because I'm going to just attach this directly to this, because I'm not worried about having to have jump rings or anything like that. So yeah, we're just going to make this a perpendicular loop and attach it to the ear wires. Which I got out ear wires earlier, but apparently I put them back because that's silly of me. I'm going to try to cut these a little closer so I can have smaller loops. It's always tricky for me when using the memory wire cutters because the cutting point is not right on the edge, which I'm used to with the flush cutters. But again, I don't want to screw up my flush cutters, so I do prefer to have smaller loops for my earrings, though. I don't like to take up a lot of space for that. So this is top and bottom, and that is fairly perpendicular. Good. All right, I'm gonna make my other link in the same way, and I do like, it's almost like the body of a cat in this shape. So I don't want that one. I want that one. Will be nice. Yes. I don't know if the garage door came through on the camera. If it did, I'm sorry, but it's okay. He's gone now. So I think this one might need to be straightened out a little bit. That's okay. All right, and oh, pretty close, pretty close. So this one's just going to take a little adjustment. See, it's not quite perpendicular. Now it is. And I'm also work hardening those loops when I do it, giving them a little squish. Get out my ear wires. And these are only one-sided, so there is a correct side to hang these. And I can't make the mirror, but that's okay because they're still adorable. I wish I could make the mirror. That would be really cool. So I'm just going to attach my cat charm to this link, and I'm making sure that the open side is at the back of the charm, like this. Okay, and then on the other side, this one, I go ahead and just swing this open. And again, this is the front of my necklet or my earring, so this is the front of my ear wire point at the back. And then just swing that closed again. Thank you for staying until the very end of this. I appreciate you. If you had to watch it in bits and pieces, I completely understand. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you have picked a side, because you're about to be faced with a question. Just getting this last earring on, and then I'm gonna pause and get both sets out on my mat where you can see all of it. I might have to zoom out so you can see it all. So that's gonna take some moving of some beads, but I will be right back, and we can check that out together. So be right back. Okay, friends, let's get the rest of this stuff out. I've gone ahead and backed up the camera a little bit, flipped my mat over after cleaning up all my stuff. And how many of you noticed when I made my cat earrings that I didn't put on the bead caps that I wanted to use? Yeah, I noticed when I was starting to put things away. So I redid those links real quick. But let's go ahead and get everything on the mat in the order we made them. I've got Team Bat with this 2-strand necklace, because of course bats have to be complicated, right? At least they are when I make them. Let's get this on here. Get everything facing the right direction. I'm just pulling the chain off the top of the mat, because you guys don't need to see that part, but we do need to see the bat. All right. Okay. Also in Team Bat, we have our little bracelet that uses the filigree thing and uses our other pendant as a dangle, because I just had to use him and he's too cute. And then we had our earrings, our long shoulder duster earrings. Trying to figure out how to better show our bracelet. Let's do this. Team Bat. So that's Team Bat. That's all on screen. And then we have Team Cat. And we've got our little kitty cat mastermind and his army of cats, including some ginger minions. Those are our orange sections. A little bit more simple design, but I still think very cute. Let's kind of round this out a little bit so you can see more of it on the screen. On the bat side, the only thing you're not seeing really is the chain at the top, just because I don't want to clutter the space. And then we've got our kitty cat bracelet. Again, a little bit more simple and delicate. Little kitty cat bracelet. And then our kitty cat moon earrings that they don't mirror, but they are super pretty and I like them. So now it's time for our special musical number. Take it away, Becky. Imagine a kitty cat staring up at the night sky and singing this. I wish that I had wings to catch that flying rat. If only I could fly, I'd eat it just like that. If it was in a tree, I'd bat it out the sky. Unfortunately for me, I simply cannot fly. And the bats reply. So what do you guys think? Are you a bat? Are you a cat? Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And of course, leave a comment and let me know, are you team bats or are you team cats? Because this is what I did with my Midnight Menagerie. The subscription and the companion bundle, mixing and match between the both of them. I used a couple of things from my stash, like my lobster claw, these smaller glow-in-the-dark beads, and that's it. The rest of these beads came from the subscription box or the companion bundle, combination of both. So yeah, what do you think? Be sure to leave a comment and let me know. Thanks, friends. Bye.